Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students of Dar al-Thaqafa Secondary School. Today we have a grammar lesson. This lesson is for second grade. Our lesson is on page 41. The title of our lesson is the causative form. What is the causative form? It is a form of sentences when you arrange for someone to do a service for you. This service is not done by you, but by someone else. In this form, we use the past participle as we do in the passive voice. Now, let's read the beginning. Causative form. A. Look at the extracts from the dialogue and answer the questions that follow. She had her hairstyle changed and her makeup done. In this sentence, she is not the doer of the action. She had the service done by someone else. Her hairstyle was changed by someone else, and her makeup was done by someone else. Let's complete. She had her hair cut and dyed. The same. Also, she didn't cut her hair herself. It was done by someone else, and her hair was dyed by someone else, which is the hairdresser. And she bought new jewelry and elegant clothes. The last sentence is not a causative. Why? Because she did the action, or she did the service for herself. She bought new jewelry. No one did it for her. And elegant clothes. Okay. Now let's go to the first question. Did Sally's mom do her hair and makeup herself? Certainly the answer is no. No, she didn't. If not, who did it for her? The answer, a hairstylist and a makeup artist did it for her. Now let's move to the second question. Did the woman in the second example buy new jewelry and clothes herself, or did someone else do it for her? We have said before that she is the doer of the action. No one else did the service for her. So the answer is she bought new jewelry and clothes herself. No one helped her. Now the third question. Which verb in one of the two examples above is used to indicate that someone else does something for you? The answer is the verb have followed by an object and the past participle of the main verb. So this is the form of the causative. We use the verb have in the same tense of the original sentence. After that comes the object. Finally, we use the past participle of the verb, which is verb 3. Okay, now let's move to B. Study the rule below, then find more examples of the causative in the dialogue. Okay, we use the causative form, which is subject. The subject here means the receiver of the service. After that, have or get in the same verb as the original sentence. After that comes the object. Finally, the past participle, or V3. When we do not do something ourselves, but we arrange for someone else to do it for us, this is the case in which we use the causative form. For example, I usually have my hair cut once a month. So I am not the doer of the action of cutting my hair, but the action is done by someone else, maybe the barber. Look, Mark has had his hair painted purple. So someone else is painting his hair into the color purple. Okay, now note. The question and the negative forms of the present simple and the past simple of the causative form are formed with do, does, and did, respectively. For example, when I ask someone, I say to him, do you have your hair cut once a month? this is a question. I can say, did you have your car fixed last week? This is another question, but in the past simple, so the beginning is the word did. Okay, now let's move to some more examples. We have practice. Read the situations below and complete the sentences using the causative form. Number 1, Andy will not buy a suit. He will ask a tailor to make it. So, Andy will not be the doer of the action. He will ask someone else to do this service for him. So, Andy will have a suit made by a tailor. We begin with the receiver of the service, which is Andy. After that, we use the verb have in the future tense, which is will have. After that comes the object, which is a suit. Finally comes the past participle or V3. At the end, I can mention the original doer of the action by a tailor, or I can omit it. In most cases, we omit it. Number 2, Mrs. Adams is at the hairdresser's. They are dyeing her hair. The word dyeing here means coloring her hair. Mrs. Adams. Now, let's mention first that they are dyeing her hair now. So the action is in progress. So I will use the present progressive tense. So Mrs. Adams is having, this is the present progressive tense, is having her hair dyed. So the action is being done now for her. And we began with the receiver of the service, which is Mrs. Adams. After that, we use verb have in the present progressive, is having. And after that, we use her hair, which is the object. Finally, verb 3, which is dyed. Number 3, Linda asked a catering company to prepare all the food. So Linda is not the doer of the action. The doer of the action is a catering company. Now, Linda had is the past form of have. We used had because in the original sentence we said asked. This is a past simple. Okay, now Linda had all the food prepared by a catering company. Number 4, didn't the mechanic service your car yesterday? This is a form of question beginning with didn't. So when I change it into the causative, it becomes like this. Didn't you have your car serviced yesterday? Number 5, Mr. Wilson told his secretary to type and send all the letters. Mr. Wilson, so Mr. Wilson is not the doer of the two actions, the action of typing and the action of sending the letters. Mr. Wilson had all the letters typed and sent. So Mr. Wilson is not the doer of the action, he is just the receiver of the service. Okay, and we used the past simple of have, which is had. Finally, we must know that typed and sent are two verb 3, two kinds of verb 3. Typed is verb 3 of type, and sent is verb 3 of send. Number 6, I'm going to ask the cleaning lady to clean the house. So I will have a service done for me. Okay, so I am going to have the house cleaned. In this sentence, the tense is future. I'm going to. I'm going to is the same as will. After that comes have in the in verb 1, have. After that comes the object, which is the house. Finally, verb 3, which is cleaned. Okay, I wish you have understood the lesson. Now, let's have more examples from our workbook. Now, our workbooks, page 45. Grammar. Decide which person does the action being described. Choose A or B. Number 1, Peter is having his picture developed. So Peter here is not the doer of the action. Who is the doer of the action? Is he Peter or a photographer? The answer is a photographer. Number 2, Bob had his television fixed. Okay, now Bob didn't fix his television by himself. The service was done by someone else, which is the electrician, technician, sorry. Number 3, Aisha cooked a delicious meal. So Aisha is the doer of the action. Who is the doer of the action here? Is it Aisha or a chef? It is Aisha. Number 4, Naeem will type his assignment. So Naeem is the doer of the action. The answer is Naeem. Number 5, Jerry had a pair of trousers made. So Jerry is not the doer of the action. The doer of the action is a tailor. Now let's move to exercise D. Rewrite the sentences using the causative form. Number 1, the dentist whitened my teeth. So the action was done by the dentist. Okay. So I had my teeth. We need here the past participle of whitened, which is whitened also. But whitened here is second form of the verb, but here it is the third form of the verb. Number 2, the mechanic is repairing my car at the moment. It is an action happening now. It is in the present progressive, and I'm going to change it into the causative form. So I am having my car repaired at the moment. Another note, am having, maybe change it into am getting, and the meaning is the same. Number 3, a painter painted my flat last week. This is a sentence in the past simple. We used the verb painted in the second form of the verb. So when I change it into the causative, it changes into I had my flat painted last week. This means I didn't paint it myself. The doer of the action is the painters. Number 4, my brother will wash my car this weekend. Okay, now the doer of the action is my brother, not me. So I will have my car washed this weekend. So we used the verb have in the future tense, which is will have. After that comes the object, which is my car. After that, washed, verb 3. This weekend is the completion of the sentence. Number 5, the nurse took my blood pressure. So I had my blood pressure taken. I used the verb had because the original tense is past simple, took. I used had to be the same tense. I had my blood pressure taken. Taken is verb 3 of the verb took. The last sentence, the hairdresser has cut and styled my hair. This is present perfect simple, has and cut. Cut here is the third form of the verb. Okay? Now after changing it, it becomes I've had my hair cut and styled. So the service was done by the hairdresser for me. Thank you very much. I wish you have understood this lesson. Thank you and goodbye.